What the insecurity and the insecure thought is trying to get by repeating itself in our minds is something that you already have if the insecurity isn't there. So today, I got out of the pool. I went to a nice brunch with my friends where we had some egg sandwiches and pancakes. What I wanted to talk to you about today has nothing to do with that. I just wanted you to know where I just came from to put me in this wonderful mood. One of the main best ways to solve or to see through mental insecurity and in deep-rooted insecurities and moments where you're panicking, overthinking things, I think the main cure to those, if they're persistent in your mind, and the cure for mine, if they're persistent in my mind, is seeing through them and seeing how they're dysfunctional and how there are better, more peaceful ways to look at things that are more functional too. And by seeing the dysfunction of the way that we're thinking, we actually naturally just let that way go. And then, of course, the best part of that is that we let go of all the tension it's causing in our bodies and our perceptual systems. So the insecurity can be in the form of codependence, where there's a select person that for some reason our mind has set to value their validation and approval more than anybody else. And so when we're not getting it, we feel that anxious, insecure feeling. Or it could be about an event that's happening in the future. So, for example, you're going to be hosting something in 2 months and you're already worried about it. Or any other way, any other situation that your mind is becoming insecure in. If the insecurity is just like a 10-minute burst of panic before a job interview, in those situations, I think it's nice to just take some deep breaths and then try and ground yourself and just wait through the pain, push through the pain. It's probably going to be there. But there's better longer-term cures for longer-term insecurities that are repeating themselves in your mind over the day. These are bad because they suck our emotional and mental energy out of us, only to be spent in an endless friction-creating, tension-creating mind twirl that becomes a mess of dysfunctional thinking that just robs us of our energy and sucks us of our musicality, life, and soul to the point where we can't perform as well in that situation as we normally would without that extra thinking. And that's exactly the cure, is to realize that when the panic starts to arise in our bodies or minds, that the fact that it's arising is actually destroying the thing that it's arising for. So if your mind starts to panic in order to try and resolve a situation that's going to happen in 2 weeks, the fact that the panic is occurring is actually going to block our ability and block our mental bandwidth to actually solve the problem in the first place. The best chance the problem has to being solved is by solving it in a calm state of mind where we have connection to our actual human intelligence when we're at our sharpest. So the insecurity actually blocks us from being able to do the thing that the insecurity is trying to do. So it's as if we're giving away our ability to solve the problem. And the fact that we give it away is causing us to feel anxious. Let's say it's another person, and this will happen to me. It doesn't happen to me very often, but there are some situations where, like if I'm texting with someone, like I'm newly dating, or there's like tension in the relationship, there will be points where if I haven't received a text from them, or if the text wasn't as validating enough towards me or as interested in me, I suddenly perceive them as having my happiness in their hands, or they have the ability to change my emotional state by giving me more approval in a big way. And if they don't give me that, then my mind will start to worry about the relationship. So this is kind of my codependent tendency that I have. And the way that I've been able to process this more and more is to have a desire for peace in place of insecurity. And then also when the insecurity comes, realize that the insecurity is trying to help. It's trying to do what's best on behalf of you or me. But the very existence of it is actually preventing it from doing what it's trying to do. So we're almost selling out and we're pushing away our ability to perform the best in the situation and feel the best about the situation, just so we can pray that we give it back to ourselves. And the interesting thing is What the insecurity and the insecure thought is trying to get by repeating itself in our minds is something that you already have if the insecurity isn't there. So if it's an example of a relationship where you're trying to get someone's approval, that feeling of self-confidence and self-worth and comfort in our own skin and our own bodies is something we already have before this person that we're thinking of is involved in any capacity. But we give it away to them subconsciously only to desperately want it back. So it's the very act of giving it away that makes it feel like we want it back. So the prize isn't outside of yourself, you already have it there. In the example of hosting some event in the future, what do you think is a better way to go about hosting this event? Let's say you're hosting a party in 2 months. It's a huge party and you're super anxious and you're having all these anxious thoughts all the time that are blocking your ability to actually plan the party. By noticing that those thoughts are actually blocking your ability to thoughtfully plan the party, slowly we can start to let them go and have them take less of a toll on our bodies and our minds, and then regain the natural capacity to break down what we need to do into chunks and use our intuitive capacity to perform best in the situation. When the pain comes up and the insecurity or tension comes up, that's our opportunity right there to actually move through it. See its dysfunction, see that it's not going anywhere, it's just hurting. The thing it is trying to get is actually being destroyed by the appearance of the insecurity. And so just by noticing that without doing anything else, we can naturally let it go and naturally let our new bandwidth come back, our old bandwidth come back. It happens slowly over time through diligent effort to gently but firmly look at the dysfunction of the way we're thinking. And this will, the insecurity will keep getting more and more painful until we look at it directly and see that it's not helping us. And then at a certain point, it'll just leave because it's not relevant, it's not helpful, and it's not necessary in the toolkit of things to actually achieve the outcome we want. And then we can use the tools we do have. So that might be a broken down list of the things you need to plan. Or if it's in a relationship with somebody that you need their approval, perhaps you realize you've sent the right amount of texts to organize something, or you've had the right amount of conversations and there's nothing to add right now, and that you can focus on other rejuvenating relationships and friendships that will fulfill you in the meantime without having the insecure thing run in the background. That is all I have for you today. I hope you feel very much at peace and delightful today, and I will see you in the next video.